Listen up, boys. The sun wasn't even up yet, and our master had asked us to meet her in the dining room. I was standing next to the table, looking everywhere but at her, while Henry, Jake, and Samuel stared at her attentively. Jeffrey was sitting at the end of the table, almost close to me, and was obviously struggling to stay awake. Today you're going to get vegetables! For once, the master was saying something that made sense. And to make sure that you don't come empty-handed again. The boys started laughing for a reason, and I wasn't interested in knowing, but so far I was agreeing with our master. I'm saying Nathan with you. Silence. What? Nathan can go with us. He's weak. Just look at him. Henry shouted. Everyone looked at me. It was true that I was lean and didn't have any signs of muscle. The only heaviest thing I had ever lifted was a table, and our tables weren't even heavy. Plus, I didn't want to go outside. The last time I had gone outside, I ended up here. But the water, I said. What do you mean the water? The master was now staring at me with a menacing gaze. I thought I could feel her eyes piercing through my skin like a knife. But I held her gaze and focused on not sweating and trembling like a coward. The water doesn't work anymore. Surely she would tell one of the boys to go fix it and we wouldn't have to go outside anymore. I fixed it yesterday. What? When? I kept my remarks to myself. There was no way I was escaping my inevitable fate now. Henry was looking at me weirdly. He probably was expecting me to find another excuse, but I didn't have anything else to say. He sighed. Well, we better get going if we want to come back before dusk. Nathan's going to slow us down. As soon as Henry was done talking, everyone got up except Jeffrey and me because I was already standing. He too was looking at me weirdly, so I figured he was trying to imitate Henry. He's going to be just like him soon, I told myself. You heard him, I said. We both reluctantly followed the boys. They all had knives, except me. I wasn't allowed to have one because I was too weak, and wouldn't know how to use one anyways. But I didn't really care. I didn't need a knife. As I watched them sharpen their weapons, I noticed that I was shaking, which was weird since I hadn't gotten out of the house yet. So I couldn't be cold, and there was no way I was scared. I wasn't going to admit it anyways, so I just told myself that the weather had started changing already. The nights suddenly felt like they were going longer after all. Jeffrey didn't sharpen his knife, but I was too busy trying to stop trembling to ask him why. I also didn't want to. Why would I want to talk with him? After a few minutes that felt like decades, the others were finally ready to go. Henry said something and opened the door, and they all got outside. I stayed in the doorway for a while, not knowing what to do. The wind that was blasting my face was cold and smelled different. The boys all had coats or sweaters, but I didn't have any, so I could really say that I was cold now. Are you okay? Jeffrey asked. I wanted to say, I'm going to freeze! But I also didn't want to answer. The worst looked so big outside the door. I had been stuck inside for months, or maybe even years. I essentially stepped outside and looked around. The air felt dusty and somewhat humid, and I kept getting small rocks and sand in my eyes because of the wind. I couldn't see the sky because of the fog that was surrounding us, but I could kind of see a light where the sun was supposedly rising. The street was made out of the same rocks that I was getting in my face, and around us were a few buildings which didn't look inhabited. There weren't any lights apart from the lamps that Samuel and Jeffrey were carrying. Close the door, idiot! Jake's voice made me jump. I closed the door and tried following them. I didn't really want to, but I didn't want to stay alone either. They were so much faster than I was, and they didn't even seem to bother to check if I could keep up, but Jeffrey seemed to be slow too, because he was walking right next to me. I could hear the other boys laughing and talking, but I couldn't really get what they were saying. Occasionally, Jeffrey would glance at me. That made me uncomfortable, so I looked down on my feet. After a while, we were in what seemed like a populated area, because there were much more buildings that went falling apart, and I could hear noises other than the wind and the boys chatting. As we were advancing through the city, I spotted small eyes in what seemed like a dead tree, and a pale grey thing suddenly started running towards me. I didn't really know how to react, but Jeffrey apparently knew because he kicked it, and I fell limp in front of me. He kicked it, and it fell limp in front of me. I stared at it confusedly. "Don't let rats bite you, Nathan," Jeffrey said. "Rats?" I was still very confused. "Yeah, rats! That thing is a rat." Jeffrey pointed at the animal, and I didn't know what to say. "Rats carry diseases. Stay away from them or they'll bite you." I still didn't understand what was going on, but Jeffrey was able to kill it, so surely he knew what he was talking about. "Oh, you killed a rat! Good, I was hungry." I didn't hear him coming, but apparently Samuel was behind us now. He grabbed the rat without asking. Joey sat out and proceeded to eat it. Jeffrey was clearly disgusted and looked at him while Henry and Jake joined their friend. "Are we supposed to eat rats?" I asked. I was hungry too, but the meat the boys usually brought back at the house was either squirrel, rabbit, or sometimes pieces of larger animals like deer or cow. I had never eaten a rat before. "No, definitely not. My uncle died after eating a rat." The sun was already at its peak, and the boys were chasing rats around the streets. They never seemed to have enough. I was sitting on the ground staring at the rat's head and bodies piling up in front of me, while Jeffrey was walking aimlessly in circles a few meters away from me. I waited to take a closer look at the rat corpses, but Jeffrey had told me I would get sick. But Jeffrey could have been lying. I picked up a head and started playing with it. I didn't feel anything weird, so I figured Jeffrey was a liar after all. I knew it. It had a strange shape, and I was intrigued about it, so I tried removing the skin with my nails to see what's under it, but they weren't sharp enough. If only I had a knife. "Give me your knife." Jeffrey spun around quickly. I must have pulled him out of his thoughts. "What? Why?" He looked at the rat's head I was holding. "I tell you not to touch it." "You can't tell me what to do. Give me your knife. I need it." "Well, you can't tell me what to do either. Give me that." Jeffrey tried to take the head from me, but I didn't let go of it. Not so easily. I put as hard as I could, but he was stronger than me, and I didn't want to risk breaking the skull. "Give it back," I ordered him, but he didn't listen. "I'm only trying to protect you. You could get really sick just by touching it." Jeffrey dropped my rat head on the ground and crushed it with his foot. I let out a weird noise and stared at him in dismay. "It was mine!" Jeffrey just looked away, but I couldn't stand it. I would have crushed him like he did to the rat if I was strong enough. But I started crying instead, like the wimp that I was. We continued walking for a while, and the boys had managed to find some meat that wasn't a rat, but they didn't let me help the hunt, so I basically did nothing for most of the day. Jeffrey hadn't talked to me since he had crushed my rat head, which was good since I didn't want to talk to him either. I really hated him now. Little did he know that I had picked up another rat corpse, which I was keeping inside the pockets of my pants. One half in my right pocket and the other in my left pocket. I had also found a sharp rock, which I had used to cut the rat in half, and were later used to remove its skin. The rat was starting to smell weird, but I wasn't going to let go of it, so I just endured the smell. I thought about what Jeffrey had told me. I was pretty sure my mom wouldn't have let me keep the rat either, but she was dead, so why would I care? The air was getting colder as time passed and the fog had grown even thicker. I could barely see where I was going as it was getting darker. Luckily, Jeffrey still had a lamp, and even though he didn't talk to me, he stayed close enough so I wouldn't get lost. After a while walking, I noticed that me and Jeffrey were beginning to catch up with the boys. They had stopped and seemed to corner something in front of us. I could see the road was blocked by pieces of buildings that must have fallen because of the wind or something else. I first thought they had found some kind of prey, but the thing started making human-like sounds. Its voice was not as loud as the boys. It was closer to mine, but not quite the same. It sounded kind of like my mom. A girl? A girl? It's a girl! I thought. I was pretty sure it was a girl. It's more doom, guys! Henry sounded kind of like he was hungry, but I was pretty sure girls want food. The other boys moved away from Henry, who was getting closer to a girl. Go away! Leave me alone! The girl sighed her eyes, and I think she was crying. I didn't know what to do. The girl seemed terrified, and the boys looked at her as though she was nothing more than an object. What's going on? Henry got even closer and took the girl in his arms. He put his mouth on hers and tried taking it off her shirt. What is he doing? I was extremely confused, but Jeffrey seemed to understand what Henry was trying to do, because he pushed the boys away and punched him in the face. Henry let go of the girl and jumped back on Jeffrey, and they started fighting on the ground. The girl backed off and sat down, pressing herself on the wall. She hit her head in her arms, and I could clearly hear her cry. Eventually, Henry punched Jeffrey straight in the eye, and the boy fell on the ground. He looked down at him. His face somehow showed both satisfaction and disappointment. We're leaving. Henry turned to me. You're staying with this weakling. Don't come back without the vegetables. And believe me, you don't want me to find out you ran away. Henry, Samuel, and Jake left me, still confused, with Jeffrey and the girl. All I wanted was to go back to my bed and find somewhere to put my rat corpse. But I was stuck with an idiot and a stranger. And I was cold. And it was getting colder. The sky was now completely dark. I really couldn't see a thing now that Jeffrey's lamp was running out of whatever it was powered by. The girl got on her feet and started to run away, but Jeffrey took her by the arm. I heard her gasp in surprise. You should stay, or you're going to get cold, Jeffrey said with the softest voice I had heard from him. I was cold too, but he didn't care about me. I saw the girl hesitate, but she too was shivering. She came closer. She laid down next to Jeffrey, and once they fell asleep, I moved closer to them, trying to get warmer. My mom wouldn't have wanted me to sit with nothing but a shirt, but there I was. End of chapter 3. I have some question for ya. Do you think they're going to find?
I'm the Globglow Gabgala. I love books, and this basement is a true treasure trove. I am the Globglow Gabgalab, the schwabble double wabble gabble flibber blabber blab. I'm full of schwibble glibber kind. I am the yeast of thoughts and mind. Schwabble double glibber glabber schwibble schwab glab. Dibble double shwibble shabble glibber glab schwab. Schwabble double glibber glabber schwibble schwab dab. Dibble double shwibble shabble glibber schwab glab. Oh, ha ha ha, splendid. Simply delicious. I am the Globglow Gabgalab, the schwabble double wabble gabble flibber blabber blab. I'm full of schwibble glibber kind. I am the yeast of thoughts and mind. Schwabble double glibber glabber schwibble schwab glab. Dibble double shwibble schwabble glibber glab schwab. Schwabble double glibber glabber schwibble schwab dab. Dibble double shwibble schwabble glibber schwab glab.